Hello everyone, I'm Caillou and welcome back to coverage of Grand Prix Mistake Island. Today we're going to be watching the round 4 match between Cyber Chronometer and Augur. So Augur is a multi-tournament winner with black-red lava spikes, which kind of came in at a time when the meta was not really seeing a good representation of aggro due to villainy and other powerful control decks kind of being boogeymen. Augur came in, shut down the existing conversation that aggro was inviable, and put aggro back on the map. Now, I believe blue-red burn is seeing its largest meta share in a long time. Something like, I think like 4 to 5 decks in this GP are that, which is might not seem like a large number, but for a regular meta share is a lot. And so Augur has been repping it, is swinging in with this Banished Companion, which is basically our format's Goblin Guide, except instead of card advantage, it pokes yourself. A very scary card, but if your opponent is also being similarly aggressive, the downside of it is real. Meanwhile, Cyber is playing Anuran Tempo. It's a green-blue deck, which is essentially named after the titular card, Anuran Encounters, which is hybrid green-blue, sorcery, can't be countered, and you draw a card for each non-converted mana cost among non-land permanents you control. So it runs like some token makers, it curves out, and then you just kind of overwhelm your opponent in card advantage. It has good early plays, some counter magic, and a top end of Scion of Torrents, which when it enters the battlefield tops any permanent on the battlefield. So sometimes you just ramp into that and lock your opponent out on turn 3. Other times you play a more interactive back and forth mid-rangey game. It's a super cool deck, and I'm excited to see how it performs in this matchup with the pressure that Augur's putting on. Augur's going to play an Avatar of Basset. Also, apologies for this. I believe the reason the card images aren't showing up for Augur's cards is because I have not updated recently. Hopefully the text on the side is sufficient. If not, I'll just read it out. It's a 1 mana, 2/1 with Menace, but it can't block. Which obviously, if you're going to be blocking as an aggro deck, something has gone seriously wrong. Okay, so Cyber played a By the Sea, which is a card which creates an Otter token, which draws a card when it deals combat damage to a player. Here, however, Cyber is emphatically on the defensive. Augur plays a Plasma Addict, which is a 3/3 flyer with haste for blue and a red. But whenever it becomes a target of a spell, it essentially, the person who targeted it gains control of it. That is less of a drawback than it might seem, because usually they're just going to point a removal spell at it, in which case, sure, it just dies. Otherwise, it's just one of the best aggressive beaters in the format, and is one of the main reasons that Burn switched from black-red to blue-red, along with Mindstorm's Eye. And oof, gonna have a Basset Charm, deals 3 to Cyber's face. I don't know what Cyber's out here is only going to have 4 mana next turn, so can't slam a Scion. And I think an additional problem is just like Cyber doesn't have wipes as far as I know. And I don't think has any life gain main either. Okay, looks like Cyber's gonna swing in with the Otter. I think at this point has resigned themselves to, well, if I hold this back for a blocker, I'm going to die to the flyer anyway, so I need to try and draw into an out. What could they have possibly hit here that would help? I don't think that they have Snowfield Mother's main. I could be wrong. Snowfield Mother is essentially a small Thragtusk, 2 GG, a gain 4 life on ETB. And yes, Cyber's just going to scoop there, and that was a blisteringly fast game 1. But what would you expect from this matchup? I think it really just comes down to Augur wins very quickly, or Cyber ramps very quickly and just domes Augur. It's whoever's winning, it's a game of speed. Okay, so doing a quick sideboarding check before we move on to game 2. Rages of the Ravaged might come in if Cyber has some sideboard life gain, but I think that Augur's main game plan might just be fine. Rikiri Descended I don't think is for this matchup, same for Smoldering Pages. Noble's Hedonism I think might hurt Augur more. Like, it provides reach, but if Cyber manages to just like grind out Augur, I don't know. Civ's Cost is okay here, but Augur can basically, or like Cyber can basically just fetch around it. Maybe Duelist forms in case Cyber makes a big board. I think the Duelist forms are the only thing that might come in, but I think Augur's main board is emphatically fine for this matchup. Meanwhile, looking at Cyber's deck list, okay, 3 Snowfield Mothers going to come in, which means that Augur might bring in the Rages of the Ravaged after all. Oh, and 3 Stand Unassailable. So yeah, okay, so I think the Rages of the Ravaged are definitely coming in to combat this life gain extravaganza. Other than that, not much for Cyber to dip into. Okay, going into game 2, Cyber opening up with another Mana Dork, but this time a different one, Mana Ascetic. This one is basically just a birds without flying, unlike Keen's Devoted, which is a Teamer Dork. Not really relevant, because both of them just add all the colors of mana the deck needs, but yeah. So Augur gonna play the Scorch, is gonna, yeah, is good. It even says it herself. Bolts the bird. That's basically this format's equivalent, because Scorch is our best burn spell. It's basically just Bolt, but sorcery speed, which is such a small change, but one that alters the dynamic of how it plays significantly. Okay, Cyber passing. I think the signal's holding up a Portal Fracture, probably to counter a Plasma Addict. But it looks like Augur's just going to go with the burn plan. Storm Surge into Avatar of Basset. So burns 3 and is just going to play a 2-1 with Menace. And Cyber is not going to do anything there, I guess. Maybe didn't have the counter magic and just has... maybe this hand actually just has like lands plus Snowfield Mother, and Cyber was hoping to go Dork, turn 3 Snowfield Mother, GG. And yeah, having to shock themselves with the shock fetch, not ideal, and is still passing. Huh. Yeah, maybe this is looking more and more like a Snowfield Mother hand that went Arroy with the ramp. And another Storm Surge from Augur into a Plasma Addict. And Cyber just lets it resolve. Is going to eat 5 here, go down to 7. Yeah, this is not looking ideal. This just might be a quick 2-0 and a handshake if Cyber can't pull something together quickly. Oh, and on end plays a Songjin to recur the Mysterious Cataract. The Songjin would have been really nice to like ramp plus block a dude, but Avatar of Basset does have that Menace text, which makes it a lot harder, and Plasma Addict has flying. This means that creature-based ways of dealing with burn decks are actually like not that great. Like putting blockers in front of them usually isn't a winning strategy. You have to be proactive yourself, or have some sort of like life gain or ways to like regain board control in general through like removal, 2-for-1s, etc. Oh, a big 5, Scion of Torrents coming down. Oh no, it's a Scion of Flourishing. This is the worst Scion, because it really needs board presence to function. Yeah, it's just going to pass because it wants to double block the Avatar of Basset, because otherwise Cyber dies to single bolt here. Augur still has 2 cards in hand though, so this could just be over either way if Augur has double bolt. And Cyber saying it themselves. Hopefully you don't have 2 burn spells. Tapping 3 mana, this is almost certainly a Mindstorm's Eye. No, did bring in the Rages of the Ravaged. So just drops Rages of the Ravaged, and now swings for 3 with the Plasma Addict in the air, and threatens lethal if Cyber doesn't have an answer to Plasma Addict. Yeah, so Cyber can now play 4 more spells throughout this game, and maybe not even that, because if Cyber plays a single spell, and it doesn't answer this Plasma Addict, they just lose to Plasma Addict next turn. And even if they do answer the Plasma Addict, like, okay, whatever, Augur just waits until they top deck a burn spell and kills Cyber. This is not looking good for our protagonist over there on the other side of the table. Cyber just plays a land and passes, and says, well, there is nominally still a line here, so I guess I'll play it out. I'm not sure what that line could be, though, because, I mean, Augur just swings in with the Plasma Addict, and then Cyber loses because they have to play a spell at some point. I don't think that Cyber has any instant speed flying creatures, right? And Augur drops the Mindstorm's Eye, burns Cyber, and yeah, that's a quick game over. No coming back for Cyber there. And Augur advances, and like, man, both of these players' decks were super explosive, but I think Burn is really, I think, again, it's having a second coming with the blue red versions, and I think that forcing people as like you have to respect aggro. You can't just be a greed pile. You have to stand this tall to play on this playing field is a really good check for the format to have because we have like really good mana bases, some really powerful, like the Scions are really good mid-range threats. Our ramp isn't half bad, and our control tools are super powerful. The only thing to prevent it from becoming a Dirtle monster are these powerful aggro decks, which force respect. And so I'm glad to see more people repping them, glad to see them doing well this GP, and excited to see how the meta evolves in the future. But yeah, until next time, this is Caillou signing off.